The United States and Israel are awaiting a significant Iranian response to the attack on the Iranian consulate in Syria. The next few days will be a test of what has been established as the American deterrence theory. The United States has used deterrence theory for nearly all of its post-World War II history, and it is why we have such an overwhelming military relative to the rest of the world. Yes, this military exists to fight if necessary, but really it's a warning to other countries to not fight. We deter others from acting by being the biggest and baddest kid on the block. This works when other entities are rational, sane nation states. It unfortunately does not work against terrorist organizations or terrorist-like despots. Deterrence theory is predicated on the use of limited force or the threat of force rather than flat-out kinetic domination. It is why we no longer have preemptive strikes against other nation states. The issue is, this theory assumes that both involved parties possess a mutual understanding of each other's communication style, their goals, and what they are willing to do to meet those goals. Without this fundamental comprehension, neither side can effectively convey their threats and their desired outcomes, and this mutual understanding appears to be lacking between the United States and Iran. From the American perspective, there exists a fundamental gap in communication and understanding of Iran. The Biden administration's approach is the Western approach, and it reflects a belief in the universal importance of the human drive for survival and societal progress. So we assume that Iran and its proxies will prioritize their survival and peaceful progress if past grievances are addressed, and we provide a vision of a better future to them. The problem is this theory reflects Americans projecting their own values onto Iran, and they often overlooked profound ideological differences, such as the fact that Iran is not interested in those things as they are a theocracy. Iran capitalizes on this Western misperception. Its leadership endorses a revolutionary Shia Islam intertwined with Persian cultural supremacy, aiming for regional and possibly global dominance. Their beliefs are rooted in the Twelver Shia sect, which tolerates responses up to an apocalyptic outcome if it serves their ultimate goals, which is a mindset that isn't fully understood or even acknowledged by Western leaders and strategists. This mindset is also what defines precisely why Iran should never have nuclear weapons. Unfortunately, the Western mindset of survival deterrence being applied to Iran drives much of the US's attempted and likely failed policy on deterrence against Iran. This has led to the historical reluctance of the US to hold Iran directly accountable for its actions and the actions of its proxies, such as Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis, because we think our threats actually matter to them. This misunderstanding of Iranian reaction has allowed Iran to escalate its regional confrontations and reduce Western political influence. The Biden administration's continuation of a diplomatic approach favoring proportional responses to proxy attacks has undermined the deterrent effect of US military power. As the response remains proportional, it remains acceptable to Iran, especially since the response is always against Iranian proxies outside of Iran and not against Iran itself. To effectively counteract Iranian aggression, the US must first fortify its deterrent strategies in a more kinetic, and by kinetic I mean violent way, ensuring that any proxy aggression directly impacts Iran, potentially through targeted strikes against strategic Iranian assets. If Iranian proxies strike the US and its allies, Iranian assets in Iran are struck as well. Remember the weak response to our service members being killed in Jordan by Iranian proxies? Yeah, we probably should have struck them hard in Iran, but we didn't. So why now should Iran take Biden's recent threats seriously? Moreover, a resurgence of proxy attacks should trigger a re-intensification of US sanctions akin to those enacted during the Trump administration, which had a significant economic impact on Iran. Iran no longer feels the pain for the actions of its proxies, and it's time they do. Additionally, it is crucial to escalate political pressure by exploiting Iran's internal vulnerabilities caused by its oppressive policies and the economic mismanagement they've experienced. Initiatives that expose corruption and resource misallocation can hasten the regime's decline and can be supported by influential Iranians in the United States and around the world. The US has this strange aversion to declaring we actually want a regime change in other countries. Remember when some recoiled a bit when Biden said Putin should not remain in power? I'm not sure why people recoiled. He is a terrible blight on our planet. So in the same vein, we absolutely should be supporting those entities that counter the Ayatollah. If you don't want the US and its vast resources supporting your opposition, then you probably should just get on board with our values. Sorry about that. Welcome to Earth, and it is not a utopia where we all get along despite our differences. Furthermore, as the US refocuses on the Indo-Pacific and once again on Europe, unfortunately, it must not forget the Middle East. And we can do this. We can keep our focus there by leveraging allies in the region and encouraging them to enhance their military capabilities and collaborate against Iran's ambitions. Countries like the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, and Bahrain come to mind. Also, normalizing relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel, which admittedly is difficult right now, as well as revitalizing the US-Saudi Defense Treaty, are critical components of this strategy. And I say this knowing Saudi Arabia is not a squeaky clean perfect fit of an ally, but in that region, they are far from the worst, and their influence is crucial to peace. Providing for their defensive needs and deepening economic ties will help here as well. Through the multifaceted approach of punishing Iran directly for its well-established proxy activities, assisting Iranian resistance to the Ayatollah, and leveraging allies in a more peaceful way, in that order, we can begin to make progress on containing Iran. By not reinforcing deterrence, by showing we will not follow through, we undermine our global aims for a rules-based order. And you know who else sees this? North Korea and Russia.